Spicer. We also have students from Yellow Medicine East and from Laquaparo Valley that are all joining us today for this workshop. So it's kind of fun to get students from all over.
Yes, definitely. It's a big group for you guys.
Right. Yes.
All right, testing my mic. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, perfect.
Awesome.
You can disregard my message now, Chad.
I see that. Very good.
Great. A quick overview, guys. We're going to be together for the very beginning for just a few minutes, and then we're going to go into breakout sessions with different employers from different regions. And then we'll all come back to our main meeting room for a wrap up. So that's kind of the overview. Just to give you a little idea of what we're about to do here for the next hour. We'll just give it another minute, I think, here.
Yeah, I think we're getting close. We
Okay.
had 78 registered, and then with our guest employers and staff, we probably got, maybe just 10 or 12, a dozen more. So we're waiting on.
Okay.
How can I unmute this thing?
Just like that.
Did you get it?
The audio.
Oh, down at the bottom if you scroll down, you should have a bar down below, and on the very left, it should say mute. If you click or unmute it. Good question. We would prefer everyone's on mute unless you have a question. We'll go over some of those details as well once we officially get rolling. Marianne, do you think we have most people in?
I would say we've got to be close. We're up to 83 now. So I would think we're maybe looking at 5 or so.
Okay. Well, it's 8:27. I think we should get rolling here. And
I can't see.
all right. All right, so just going to welcome everyone to our workshop today, Step into a Green Job Experience. We have employers that are with us today, so really excited to have you here. My name is Shelley K. Foster, and I'm the YES Program Director based out of Prairie Woods Environmental Learning Center. YES stands for Youth Eco Solutions. We work with students like you to complete environmental action projects in your community. If you're not already part of a team, we'd love to have you join us. All right, now to get started, we're going to have Deb give us a few tips for Zooming today.
Hi, my name is Deb Grubner, and I am the YES coordinator for Southern Minnesota. So, like Shelley Kay said, I am going to.
Deb, I think we don't want this on the screen right now. We want this later. So just go back to Deb.
It's okay. Either way is fine. All right, so a few tips for using Zoom today to participate. To ask a question, type it into the chat box. To open or close the chat box, click the chat button on the bottom of your Zoom window. However, if you'd rather speak to ask your question, just let us know in the chat box and we will call on you to unmute yourself. When you're not asking or responding to a question, please keep your microphone muted. If you're having trouble seeing the presentation, look for the view menu in the upper right-hand corner of your Zoom window for some options to make what you're seeing larger. Okay. Today's workshop is being recorded. We'd love to see your face like we would in person. So if you're able to participate with your video on, please click on Start Video in the lower left corner of your Zoom window. This is your final instruction, and it is so important that we made a separate slide for it. Okay, so in a few minutes, you will be going into a virtual breakout room with employers near you. To make sure we put you in the right breakout room, you need to rename yourself like this. You need to go into the participants list. And to do that is you click on the participants button on the bottom of the Zoom screen to open that list. You can hover or right click over your name and select rename. You may need to open a more menu and then use this format to enter your new screen name and then click OK. Okay, so we want your school initials and then your first name. So for example, I went to John Hersey High School, and so I put JHHS-Deb, and then you want to click OK after that. And if you miss these instructions, if we went too fast, I will add instructions for renaming yourself into the chat box after turning it back over to Shelley K. Thanks.
Great. Thanks, Deb. All right. So this workshop is called Step into a Green Job Experience because we hope it'll give you key information to take the steps you need to gain access to local employers. Our goal is for you to learn about opportunities that will give you a better idea of what it would be like to have a job that helps both people and the planet. I just want to do a quick shout out to Central Minnesota Jobs and Training, and Southwest Minnesota Private Industry Council, and Live Career Pathways to bring you this workshop today. All right. So I just want to, so to you guys, what is a green job? Does anybody have an idea they'd like to kick out for me? You can unmute your button or unmute and just give me a couple ideas. Or put it into the chat room. All right, there's gotta be somebody out there.
Would it be like a renewable energy?
Yes, yes, renewable energy would be a green job, absolutely. How about somebody else? Oh, here's some in the chat group. A shrimp farmer, an environmentally helpful career. Yes, is a job that renews energy and saves the planet. An environmental eco-friendly career choice. Yes, thank you very much. Those are all really good suggestions. So green jobs are those in which workers contribute to a healthy environment, conserve natural resources, or promote sustainable communities. In short, taking care of our soil, water, air, and people. There are a variety of jobs you may be interested in. Can you click to the next slide? Ariane, okay. If we can go to the next slide, that'd be great. Otherwise, we'll just continue on. There's a variety of types of jobs you may be interested in, and depending on what you like to do. Some people like working with numbers, doing research, working with their hands. One way to look at finding a job you might like is to consider some different parameters, like, do I like working inside or outside? So here's a quick poll. I'm gonna have you guys just answer this. Can everybody see the poll?
Yes.
Okay, great. Put your answer in there. Has everybody got their answers in?
Not quite. It looks like we've got a few more yet.
Okay. Yeah, mine's not showing anything, but maybe. Is yours showing?
Yep, we're at about 87%.
Okay, great. I'll get your last answer in. And I'm going to end the poll and I will share the results with you guys. Okay, Ariane, can you tell me what the results say?
Yeah, so it looks like we've got about 63% of you who like to work outside and 37% enjoy working inside.
Great, great. And again, that's just one way to think about it. Now, if we can switch to the next slide.
Yes, I'm getting there. Gosh, sorry. There we go.
Okay, so some things, if you like working outdoors, here's some types of jobs that you might be interested in. A scientist, a solar or wind installer, that's if you like to be up high, a naturalist or a water quality technician, wave engineer, might be somebody that works in the ocean and monitors waves, organic farmer or teacher, educator. So those are some ideas, just a small dabble of that. Now we can switch to the next slide for working inside. Scientist, an engineer, researcher, respiratory doctor, energy auditor. So just there's a lot of different ways that you can be contributing to helping the planet and the people that are all working to work together. All right, so we're going to end that slideshow and just want to thank you for your time. And right now we are going to be entering into our breakout sessions. We're going to have breakout room for Westbrook Walnut Grove, one for Yellow Medicine East and Lacopara, another one for New London Spicer. So this is the time where you'll have to engage with employers, and then we're going to come back here for just a short wrap up. So have a great rest of your workshop.
Now, and I'll get to that in just a moment, is because we do so much more than just make ethanol, which ethanol is converting almost exclusively corn to fuel. Minnesota is actually one of the first states in the country to adopt blending ethanol at a higher rate back in 1997 at 10%. So the vast majority of the fuel that you're putting into your tank right now is 10% biofuel, probably ethanol made exclusively from corn. We are working to try to get that moved up to 15%. And as you go to gas stations, you'll see that sometimes you might want no ethanol. Sometimes you might want all ethanol, but the more choice the consumer has to be environmentally conscious or not, the better. We want people to make the right decisions. People are buying electric cars, even though they're more expensive. People are doing things that cost more money because it's better for the environment. Biofuels are cheaper, as you can see on an upcoming, well, we probably won't go to that slide for time's sake, but we do save money by blending biofuels. So why would going into biofuels be a green career? Well, it's good for the environment. Reading your guys' answer about renewing energy. Somebody said renewing energy. That's so smart. That's such an intelligent answer. Newton tells us energy can't be created or destroyed, only transferred in form. So whether it's gas, whether it's an electric battery, whatever it is, we've taken some energy stored somehow and convert it to something different. Ethanol is probably the cleanest way to do it, and it's here right now. And I have a slide that kind of helps us understand why it's good for the environment and why it's good for humans. Outside of the green part of a career within the biofuel sector, there's other benefits. It's better for engines, which we're finally combating a lot of the oil guys that have tried to make us believe that it's bad or it clogs up your engine. It actually cleans your engine. It's better for
Hey,
your.
Joel, are you still wanting to be on the first slide, or you have other ones that you're doing?
I have other ones. Did it not progress?
Nope.
Does it have comprehensive benets up by chance?
It just has the poet.
Okay,
The first
let
one.
me stop and reshare. Thank you, Krista.
Yeah, no problem.
Let me see if I can't figure out what I'm doing wrong here. Share. Let me know if that happens again, would you?
There we go. We got it.
All right. So there is value to the consumer. Plus, anytime you can take a product and use it close to where you produce it and have less transportation cost, that's great. So corn is grown here, so the fuel stays here, so that you have less transportation, which is just better for national security. You don't have to make sure you have the transportation lines open, and we decide how to grow what we grow instead of it being dependent on OPEC or entirely other governments. So there are some benefits of working in this sector outside of the green part, but we definitely want to focus on the green part. So let's try to advance the slide and see what happens. Did it advance? It did. Okay, cool. So you'll hear why is ethanol good? Why are biofuels good? And you just kind of have to take somebody's word for it, right? Well, if you're going to commit a career or an education pathway or your choice of work into something, it's pretty good to understand what you're getting yourself into. So I'll take just a moment here to help explain why biofuels is better for the environment, why ethanol is better for the environment. And this is a screenshot. You don't have to read all the words because there's a zillion of them. You look at the blue bar and then you look at the black bar. The blue bar represents the ethanol that's in your tank. The black bar represents other that's in your tank, and that's gasoline, right? So E10 means 10% ethanol. So that's what almost exclusively we burn in our gas cars. If you have diesel or if you have an electric car, it's different, obviously, but then there's the 90% gasoline. Ethanol is made organically. So when you come through that chemical reaction, this transferring of energy that's in corn as a sugar into something different, what you get out is ethanol exclusively. Whereas gasoline, you don't have an organic process. You don't just set ethanol or oil in a tank and then it biologically converts into gasoline. It's a very synthesized, very difficult, a lot of stimulants and reactants and reactors and burning, and it's a very, very difficult and complex chemical process. Through that process, you make, I don't know, hundreds, maybe dozens at least, hundreds of different chemicals, only some of which are actually used for the combustion when you drive your car forward. The rest continue in the exhaust, leave through your tailpipe, and go into the air. So now you have oil, which started buried deep in the ground, goes through this nasty process of refining that is bad for the environment. Then it goes through this nasty combustion process in your car and enters the environment. So ethyl butane, some acids, some chlorides, some like things that are found in cigarettes, those are now entering into the atmosphere or dropping onto the roadway, sliding into a ditch, filling that ditch full of these things, fish eat it, birds eat it, it enters into the ecosystem. That's why gas is bad for the environment. It creates smog and it's bad for the ground. Ethanol, on the other hand, fully combusts. Because oxygen is in the chain and because it is an organic process, it fully combusts, and when it comes out the tailpipe, it doesn't have those hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of things in the exhaust. So that's very simply what makes ethanol green, is the tailpipe emissions, and that's why there is higher and higher and higher blends, because cars, because it's caffeine standard, have to meet a certain blend, or they have to meet certain tailpipe emissions. The only way to do that is ethanol or an electric car. So that's why you see both of them gaining in popularity and starting to come more to the forefront and growing, is because you just quite simply have to get away from gasoline. Poet, it started kind of simple back in 1984. There was too much corn, not enough price, so everybody was kind of getting government checks. It was a bad time to be a farmer. Interest rates were insane. It was a really bad time to be a farmer, but we live in farming economies. We know how hard it is to be a farmer and how ingenuitive you have to be. And you always have to be planning ahead and thinking, how can I survive this down cycle? Well, in those years, the Broyne family started converting their corn into ethanol themselves. And they got better and better and better at it, to the point where they started 29 biorefineries that are running today across the country. And we're kind of by two. We're number two. Bingham Lake or Windham is number two there. There's a lot of other ethanol plants in our area too. They just aren't Poet plants. They're just as good. We like to think we're a little better, but that's not my point today. They're all making biofuels in the same way that are making the environment greener. So this is a snapshot. It was a barn in 1984. So this is a snapshot of what a biorefinery looks like today. What's going on in there? And here's a little slide to sell you on why Poet's the best. But if you're entering the green industry, as I was, when I was picking a career choice, I was either going to do solar, I was going to do electric cars, or I was going to do biofuels. And that was back in 2008. And so I entered into actually solar, and I did some photovoltaic nanotechnology research. And I realized that the technology was 75 years away. It was going to be forever before solar panels were what were making a huge difference. So I looked into electric and I realized that's feasible, but that was decades away. Ethanol was already just mainstream. It's here now. It's just making it more efficient and making more of it to make a difference now. So that's why I entered, and that's why I selected Poet. And making ethanol is very, very simple. Making a biofuel is simple. Here's the slide that shows you just take the corn, you grind it, you add water. We've become more efficient over the years, so you don't have to have this big heat addition process, which makes it much, much, much more efficient. And then you ferment it. That's the biological part. If you were to take some grapes or even corn and just throw it on the ground and wait a season, it's going to start to get mushy and mashy and stink. It's fermenting. So we just do that inside of a tank, and then we pull it out into distillation, centrifuge, and dryers to then split it up into different piles. One of the piles, we pull the CO2 off the top. We take the ethanol, maybe it's going to be hand sanitizer instead, and then we have several byproducts. So just like oil has done a really good job over the last 100 years of selling rubbers and plastics and all these other byproducts, we've done the same thing with the kernel of corn. And that's really a big part of being green, is making sure that you have no waste and that you have great recycle streams. So how can I have a job in doing this? Well, I'm going to start at the right-hand side of this, start right at the biorefinery. That's one of the best ways to get a job here, because all the biorefineries are located in rural settings. And that's what we are. We're a biorefinery. And so there's a vast number of jobs right here in our county, in the area around Westbrook, Walnut Grove, and a lot of different opportunities there. I like that a lot of us like to work outside. 63%, we have a lot of outside work. We're receiving grains. We're sending out ethanol. We're keeping the equipment running. There's a lot of hands-on tasks here, whether you're doing maintenance or running the process through operations. But there's also a lot of inside jobs here as well. A lot of chemists, and some that require a degree, some that do not. You can come right after high school and we'll teach you how to run the lab. Other jobs include engineering. There's management style jobs, which is kind of the pathway that I have chosen to take. There is a lot of variety right here at the bios. But if you run across the gamut, you're going to see there's everything from research, which is maybe a chemical engineer, maybe you're a chemist, maybe you're an ag major, and you work at how do we best get the crops out of the field and how do we best convert using this yeast or that, all the way through different engineering careers, marketing. So maybe you aren't a scientist or a researcher, you're not a hands-on, but you're great at sales. Maybe you're great at debate. Well, there's a lot of different marketing. There's a lot of people out there that do not understand that biofuels are impacting in a positive way. So if you want to join using your voice and being out there and helping people understand replacing oil products with bio products, there's a lot of careers there as well. Or you can just work with the farms. You know farms well, maybe, and you can work with the farmers to help them set up a way to deliver their corn at the best price to the best bio. And there's a strong future in biofuels. I think that whatever the blend is over the next 100 years to return our environment to the way we want it to be, it's going to take a whole bunch of solutions. Electric vehicles are just starting to rise up. You know, we see a lot of wind energy around here. There's a lot of solutions. The one that's here now and growing is biofuels. And biofuels, we're only at 10%. Only 10% of the fuel is bio. We need to get that much higher. So there's a lot of jobs being created in this sector. And I do hope that I've piqued your interest a little bit so that you can explore that further. But with that, I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to open up the chat so I can see if anybody, I'm going to stop sharing as well here. And I'll open up the chat. So if anybody has any questions, I think I have maybe a minute or so, Krista, to answer a question or two.
Yeah, we'll give you like 3 seconds. We might start the next presentation. If anyone has any questions, they can either direct message me or you, and maybe you could answer some questions even as the presentations continue going on. Any questions that people have throughout this, if you just direct message me at Pick Krista DeGeest, I can get all these questions to the presenters. But Annie, we'll go ahead and let you get started so we make sure we have enough time for everybody. I know it's a quick time going through here.
No problem. I'll try to get us back on track a little bit. Joel, great presentation, interesting stuff. And I want to introduce True Shrimp. I don't know how many people are even know we exist, but let me get this share started. And you should be seeing a screen. You see a True Shrimp screen?
Yep, we see it.
Okay, very good. Okay, True Shrimp, we're a startup company located in Ballatin, Minnesota. Our goal is to raise safe, sustainable, superior shrimp. And we're trying to do that by changing all the rules in the shrimp aquaculture industry. And we've been we're on that path to do that. So let me get on to a couple of screens. We are the new standard in shrimp. So many people have eaten our shrimp and just can't believe that we grow this kind of shrimp here in the Midwest. And we start with something, why True Shrimp exists, and it's really sort of summed up in a quote we heard a few years ago, that never have so many depended on so few to provide their food. And you guys that are in the agriculture region of the world, that the world depends on places like Minnesota and Iowa, Nebraska, and Kansas, and other states to provide a large amount of our food. Well, shrimp is really no different, because shrimp is one of the most popular seafoods in the world. We've got about a 1.6 billion pound market in the US alone for that, and it's about the same in Europe. And most people grew up, or at least I did, thinking that Bubba Gump and Forrest went out to the Gulf of Mexico and got all of our shrimp, but they don't. Most of the shrimp that's in the world is grown in ponds, and most of it is grown overseas. And so True Shrimp, our goal is to really change that, to bring shrimp production back to the United States, and to do that mainly in the Midwest for a couple of reasons. First of all, we're about as far away from the ocean as you can get here in Ballatin, Minnesota. And that's a good thing for us, because the ocean is the source of disease. And that is one of the biggest issues with growing shrimp and selling shrimp and those kind of things. So what we've done, we're the first company to test and validate true commercial size, shallow water, indoor shrimp farming technology in the United States. Basically, we grow shrimp in 12 inches of manufactured salt water. That's what we do. Our technology is considered revolutionary in the industry. It's the most stable and efficient environment for shrimp to grow. It produces truly a superior quality shrimp that's we can trace back from literally the parents of the shrimp. The shrimp, our process is sustainable. There's no antibiotics and there's no GMO. Like we said, there's no Franken shrimp here or anything weird like that. And this is nothing that the rest of the world can do at this point anyway. The way we do that, and I won't go into a lot of details, but we have patented technology that we use in our company. The first thing that really makes us unique is this tidal basin technology. And basically, these are long tanks. They're about 16 inches deep, and they can be stacked on top of each other. And here in Ballatin, these tanks or tidal basins are about 150 feet long, and we have 8 stacked on top of each other. In the future, as we build our next facility, they'll go from about 150 feet long to 585 feet long. And this is the home of the shrimp, 12 inches of water with a current that goes, that's sort of what the blue and green picture depicts, is the way that the current circulates in that tidal basin. And that's where we grow shrimp. That's where the shrimp are fed. And that's where they live until they're harvested. The key to everything we do, and this is why, a lot of reasons that we would consider True Shrimp green, but water chemistry and managing that habitat of those shrimp is the key to our success. And when I say managing that habitat, I'm talking about we manage temperature, we manage pH, we manage oxygen levels, we manage nitrogen. The list just goes on and on, all the minerals in the water that's needed for the shrimp. We also feed the shrimp in this tidal basin, and the way we do it is through robotics. We actually have a feeder that runs the middle of the tidal basin and distributes the right size feed to the shrimp based on where they are in their growth cycle, and delivers that shrimp or that feed to them. And then the other key component of what we do is water is everything to us. Water is everything to the shrimp. We reuse or repurpose all of our water. None of our production water ever leaves the facility unless it's through evaporation. So we take in fresh water, we actually runs through an RO process, and it is cleaned up. We create salt water. As we do what we call a final harvest, that water is brought back in, it's retreated, and then it goes back into our system for use to grow the next batch of shrimp. And so water management, feed, and all these things are really key to what we do. When we started out, a little over 5 years ago now almost, we were told it would take 210 days to grow a shrimp from a post larva, which is about the size of your eyelash, to a 35-gram shrimp. That's a jumbo shrimp for you and me. 35 grams, I wouldn't know what that meant, but it's a jumbo shrimp. It was going to take 210 days. Because of the water chemistry and the habitat that we manage, the feed that we use, we are down to about 120 days. We can grow a 35-gram shrimp. And the goal is to continue to do that. This technology, this tidal basin is basically, I call it a shrimp lazy river. It's got a nice 5-mile-an-hour current. We bring the feed to the shrimp. The tidal basin itself takes care of removing all the excess feed, feces. The shrimp do die, dead shrimp. It removes all of that from the shrimp so that they live in this pristine environment. And because of this, our shrimp, the value of the shrimp are greater than just farm raised shrimp and things like that. And as I said, we don't use any antibiotics. We don't use any GMO or anything like that. Everything is just, we start with post larva, and we grow them, feed and water control. That's what it's all about. So it's about as natural of a process as you can have. Okay, so why is this important? Basically, I'm not going to go through all the details in this, but basically compared to what's done, our processes, the reason we say that they're so, we're changing the industry. The density that we can grow shrimp is 3,600 times what typical farms do today. Our growth rate is about 81% higher, and our survival rate of our shrimp, because of the pristine environment they're in, is about 32% greater than the industry today. And this is what makes us different. This is what makes it possible for us to do those things. A little bit of proof in the pudding as far as being a green company. We commissioned a company called Boundless Impact to assess what we do. We came out with a rating of 8.1 out of 10, with 1 being the worst and 10 being the best. As far as the impact we have on the climate, and we'll continue to do things to make that even better. But the big things, and again, I'm not going to go through all the details, but clean water, what we do with water, and the water we do release is just extraordinary work. Especially here in Minnesota, our water is very hard, very high in minerals. So to be able to do this, it requires a lot of science and a lot of technology to make that work. Waste value, we don't waste anything. For a fact, and I won't really go into today, but some people have said that shrimp will be our byproduct, not our main product, that the peels and the molts from the shrimp will be more valuable because they contain cotton, which could be converted to chitosan, which is used in medical devices and high-end medical procedures, and very valuable. Part of the reason that that's such a big deal, or why we can do it and others can't, is that pristine environment that our shrimp grow in. There are no heavy metals, there are no things like that. And so it makes our byproducts, what we call byproducts, or our co-products, very valuable out there. Greenhouse emissions were 74% less than the shrimp that's grown in Southeast Asia. 81% lower transportation costs because we don't have to ship it all over the world. I don't know, I really can't do a poll, but a lot of you probably, I hope a lot of you eat shrimp. It's not as popular up here as where I was from. But most of the shrimp that we have in Minnesota today, if you go to the store and you buy it, it's frozen. It's probably 9 to 12 months old by the time it's on the shelf. Now, that's okay. It's frozen, but still, it's not fresh product because it's been shipped from a long distances. And then, like I said, the water that we use, is kept pristine. We control everything about that water, so the water is well taken care of. So that's why that when they asked us about green jobs, and it's more the company is green and what we do than the jobs themselves. Last point or last comment, in October 2020, world organization called Solar Impulse Foundation, they recognized us as one of the top 1,000 solutions for sustainability in the world, and recognizing that the technology and the opportunity that this technology brings to help feed people down the road. So let me get into green jobs real quick. And I know I'm trying to go fast, trying to help us go on schedule a little bit, but this is really about you. So I want to tell you more things that it may be out there for you. Green jobs at True Shrimp, microbiology, biology, chemistry are highly valued jobs. Those are probably college degrees. We have people here with master's degrees in microbiology. We actually have a PhD in microbiology and health science. So microbiology, biology and chemistry, if you're interested in those, we have careers in True Shrimp. Animal health, if you're interested in animal health, the shrimp is like any other critter, but whether it's swine or beef or whatever, it just happens to grow under 12 inches of water for us. But animal health and animal science are very valued careers or positions within our company. Food sciences, very important. Engineering, you can imagine with all the stuff that we do, engineering is tremendously important. Just a couple of things on engineering. Today, pretty much every shrimp you eat, somebody has manually removed the head and the vein from that shrimp. There was not a piece of equipment that would do that. We have teamed up with Novatech up in Wilmer, Minnesota, and they have developed technology that will take dehead the shrimp, devein the shrimp, and now peel the shrimp for us. And that is just a tremendous advancement in technology as far as shrimp goes. The other thing was our feeding systems. How do you feed shrimp over that long tank that we talked about? How do you do that? Well, we teamed up with Action Manufacturing in Marshall, Minnesota, people that do the Action Track chairs for vets, and they built us a automatic feeder that'll run the length of that tidal basin, distribute the feed, come back, recharge and reload, and do it again about an hour later. So the technology is pretty fascinating. SCADA, if you're not familiar with that, supervisory control and data acquisition technology, is computing and process control, very important to what we do, because you can basically run our tidal basin with an iPad. That's sort of the way things work. Environmental sciences is huge. As I've already talked about, the management of water, and then food safety. You know, we produce all this shrimp. We've got to get it safely to the consumers. And so food safety is a very important career and job at True Shrimp. For you guys, I want to try to break it down. We do offer job shadowing. We've had several people that have come and have done job shadowing with us. We do career interviews. We've had several students contact us when they're getting out of high school, or even before they get out of high school, and talk up to us about careers. Actually had one young lady that called us 3 years ago, said she wanted to go to work for True Shrimp. What did she need to do? She ended up getting an associate degree in environmental management at South Dakota State, and she came to work for us a little over a year ago. So it was great that we sat down and had lunch with her one day and talked to her about careers. She went and got her associate degree. Now she's working on her bachelor's degree. We do have summer jobs. Unfortunately, last year, because of COVID, we had to stop that program. We don't know about this year, but if you're interested, let me know in a possible summer job here, working in the harbor or in the hatchery here. We do give tours normally. Again, we're restricted right now because of COVID, but if you're ever interested, hopefully here in a few months, we'll be opened up and we can give tours again and show people our technology and what we do. As you move into college, we do have semester internships. We started out summer internships, but ended up doing them different semesters. So once students completed their freshman year, they're eligible for a semester internship with us. And so we've got several things, and we'd love to have people call us and, talk to us about careers. I really didn't introduce myself. I'm the Director of Human Resources and Government Relations. And in a startup, you do a whole lot of other things. So I get tagged right now. I'm helping design our processing center for our shrimp. So we do a lot of different things. But if you're interested in some of these, give me a call. And Krista, I don't know how we're going to make our contact information available. I didn't put it on a slide, but will you be making that available?
You can go ahead and put it in the chat, and then they can get that.
Okay.
Otherwise, I will put my email in the chat also, along with your guys' websites. And if people
Okay.
have other questions, they can email me as well. But think about your questions. You can always put them in the chat, and we will get on to our next presentation as well. Thank you so much.
Very good.
All right, we have one more
Let me figure out how to
presentation
stop
today
sharing here.
from Tangent Materials. At least I think so. Julie, are you on here?
I need to stop sharing. Okay, I've stopped.
Oh, there you are. I think you're muted though.
I am here. I'm going to
Awesome.
share my screen here.
We have until 9:20 now. I don't know if you saw the message at the top. So we have a little bit longer time. So.
All right.
All right.
So, well, Joel and Andy, you did a great job. Thank you so much for introducing your companies. Now you're going to make me step up my game a little bit. I was prepared for this, but I'm certainly to share my screen here. Oh, maybe we want a screen. Can you see my slide?
Yep.
So it says, who is Tangent Technologies at the top?
Yes, it does. Looks great.
Perfect. So who is Tangent Technologies? Tangent Technologies is a manufacturer of high density polyethylene recycled plastic lumber. Typically the pioneers for plastic lumber manufacturing began around 1983. In 1998, Bedford Technology began operations in the Worthington, Minnesota location here. And in February of last year, we were actually acquired by Tangent Technologies. Tangent Technologies was the larger manufacturer of recycled plastic lumber in the nation. So we're a part of the largest company now that is a manufacturer of recycled plastic lumber. And we currently have manufacturing operations in Worthington, Minnesota, Aurora, Illinois, and Winchester, Virginia, and currently have over 350 employees. To introduce myself, I am Julie Timmerman. I am the HR manager for the Worthington and Winchester locations. Let's see if I can get to the next screen here. All right, come on. There we go. So how does Tangent contribute to green jobs? So green jobs are those in which obviously workers contribute to a healthy environment, conserve natural resources, or promote sustainable communities. For us, our biggest thing is getting those recycled plastics out of the landfills and into our manufacturing facilities. You'll see from your milk jug to bales of plastic that we purchase from recyclers all over the country. We grind it into small flake or pellet, and then it is manufactured through a process in which your standard lumber profile, so like a 2x4, 4x4, is made out of that plastic, obviously. And then from there, what'll happen is those finished profiles then are transferred on to different companies, construction companies, and we'll go into a little bit on that. So obviously the big thing of being green, have you heard of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch or the Pacific Trash Vortex? Obviously with those, you'll find that there's 2.5 billion metric tons of solid waste that's produced around the world. And 275 million metric tons is typically plastic waste. So obviously we know with the plastic waste that we have ends up in our streams and rivers, our lakes, and then eventually ends up out into the ocean. So plastics in the oceans obviously are very detrimental to our environment. Our sea animals certainly can get entangled in it. They ingest the product as well. So you'll find with commonly found plastics, typically beverage bottles such as water bottles, pop bottles, milk jugs. Those are common products through high density polyethylene product that we can take out of the landfills and get it out of our oceans and rivers. And from there, we use that to make plastic boards. So you'll see here in the picture in the top left corner, those are actually bales of recycled plastic that we have purchased from recycling companies all over the world. Actually, most of it's pretty local to the Midwest. We'll purchase from MRFs from Sioux Falls, out of the cities and such. We have a process in which we grind up the product, and you'll see in the right-hand top corner there is some of the milk jugs that have been ground up, have been washed up as well. We have a wash process that some of the plastics will go through. In the bottom left-hand corner is some more flake where we have more. So those are a combination of your milk jugs, laundry detergent bottles, pop bottles, all ground up. And then with that particular flake, then it's used in a mixing process in which we'll mix UV color additives, color pellets, sometimes fiberglass is added into those as well. Foaming agents such as baking soda, and it's all mixed and heated and melted together, and through an extrusion process then is extruded into a lumber profile. So for example, that lower right corner, you'll see that mold is typically, it could be a 2x4, 4x4. That extruded melted product is then goes into those profiles and then goes into a bed of water for a cooling process. So we really like, by getting that plastic out of there, our finished product, typically a fun fact, 1 pound of plastic equals 8 milk jugs. So obviously our milk jugs are our primary source of high density polyethylene that we use in our plastic lumber. And each foot of a 2x6 board, there's roughly about 3.2 pounds of recycled material, which typically means that there's 307 milk jugs that we'll divert from a landfill and use to manufacture 2x6 by 12 foot board. So obviously with our green statement as well, when we really look at the criteria of green building products to specify the use of materials that are durable, obviously made by a resource that's efficient manufacturing process, have identifiable recycled content, obviously, which our product is, are recyclable themselves. So here's the deal. We don't have a lot of waste. If we make a bad board, we can actually grind it back up and reuse it again in that process. So with the waste, there's limited waste with that. And of course, you have low to no negative impact on environmental quality. So typically by getting those plastics out of the landfills, getting the littering out of our rivers and lakes and are preventing it to going from the ocean, obviously it's hopefully having a huge impact on our environmental quality. So here's some of the products that typically we can manufacture from our recycled plastic lumber. You'll see the Adirondack chairs. If you're familiar with Worthington, if you drive around the lake in Worthington, you'll see the benches that are around the lake. Those are part of our product as well. They can be used in industrial and agricultural markets. You'll see horse barn stalls there. The bottom middle picture is actually an electrical pole that we're actually right now working with Worthington, the REA, replacing with plastic lumber rather than standard wood timbers. So, and then of course, boardwalks, parks, playgrounds. There's a lot of different varieties that plastic lumber can be used in. It's so much better than wood. It doesn't rot, it doesn't corrode, it doesn't fade or splinter like your wood does. In addition to that, like I said, if we have a wasted product, we're able to grind it up and reuse it again. Typical workplace experiences, because of the manufacturing environment that we have, you do have to be 18 years of age in order to have an opportunity to work at Tangent. We do some summer temp jobs in our production area as well. And there is internship potential for college students, primarily in the engineering field. Our engineering teams have grown and quantified hugely over the last 5-6 years here. Our engineering team has the top design and talent, obviously, for manufacturing processes, procedures, new products, and things like that. So ideally, all of our employees are key to manufacturing. So really, every part of our production employees are key, because those are the people that are going through our plastics, keeping the plastics that we can use. Those are the ones that are doing the mixing, extrusion of the boards, getting ready for shipment and such. Contact info, you can email me at julie.timmerman@tangentmaterials.com. My direct line is 372-5558, or I'm located here in Worthington at 2424 Armour Road. So thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Julie, and all our presenters. I think we have 2 minutes. So if anybody has any questions, you can go ahead really quickly, unmute yourself, and we can try to get those answered. I think when we have to go back to the regular room, we're just going to automatically all have to go there. So it might be cut off, but go ahead and write those questions if you have them. Thank you so much. These were all great presentations. And the speakers, if you want to put your email in the bottom, that's fine. Otherwise, I directed the students to go ahead and email me if they have questions at a later time, and I can forward on that information to you. Any questions? Now's the time. All right. Perfect. Thanks, Andy. And if there's any students, I think, I don't want to speak for people, but I think a lot of the workplace, they do tours, whether you're able to work there at high school or not. There are tours available that you'd be able to go through. Maybe not right now with COVID and everything, but it's something that either through the PIC that we could help you get those tours set up. So make sure to reach out to us if you want those experiences, whether it be a teacher or a student. We can work on getting those done. All right. Well, I think we should get brought back in a second. I'm so happy we got everything done and all the presenters got their time. Again, my name is Krista DeGeest, and I'm the Work and Learn Coordinator, since I didn't talk too much about myself so we can get the presenters to go through right away. But I work with the Southwest Minnesota Private Industry Council, and primarily through the Windham, Worthington, and Jackson County Central areas, but can reach out and hope to connect the businesses to the schools, providing those different internship and workplace tour opportunities in the schools. Thank you all for being such great listeners. Amy must have done a really good job when she did her presentation last week to tell you guys how to be good listeners. It was really great.
Stay on the screen here. All right, so well, thank you everybody for participating today. It was really great to see all the conversations and hear all the good information from the employers from different parts of the state. So we really just want to give you a call to action now to go and connect with your career workforce people that we heard from today. You can meet with Ariane, or you can call Delina. I know a lot of the employers also gave you good contact information during the sessions today. So we want to thank you. Also, in the chat room, there's a link we have a survey. If you guys would take a minute to complete that survey, that would be great. I just want to give a big shout out to Southwest Minnesota Private Industry Council and Central Minnesota Jobs and Training for helping us put this together today. Everybody have a great day, and have a great rest of your week, and go get a green job.
Yes, and a big thanks to all of our employers for being here today and taking the time out to talk with their students. We appreciate that very much.
Okay, thanks. Can we take the slide off, Ariane, please? Okay. Goodbye, everybody.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, guys. Bye. Also, don't, check out Yes too. If you want to join Yes, we'd love to have you. Do we have some people in the waiting room?
Yeah, I don't know why they're in the waiting room.
Huh.
It's like they clicked to come back in.
Any students still on here can go ahead and end the meeting. Thank you.
You just press leave down the right-hand corner. There's a red button that says leave.
Have a great day, students. Thank you for being here.
We'll send out that link to the coaches for the survey, or can we send it to everybody that registered? Is there a way to do that? The survey link?
Yeah, I was just thinking I can send that to everybody who registered.
Screen here. All right, so well, thank you everybody for participating today. It was really great to see all the conversations and hear all the good information from the employers from different parts of the state. So we really just want to give you a call to action now to go and connect with your career workforce people that we heard from today. You can meet with Ariane, or you can call Delina. I know a lot of the employers also gave you good contact information during the sessions today. So we want to thank you. Also, in the chat room, there's a link we have a survey. If you guys would take a minute to complete that survey, that would be great. I just want to give a big shout out to Southwest Minnesota Private Industry Council and Central Minnesota Jobs and Training for helping us put this together today. Everybody have a great day and have a great rest of your week, and go get a green job.